Welcome to episode 8 in our second series on the surnames of Appalachia and the American South. As with the first season, I want to focus on surnames that have been in the country since before the Civil War. As a reminder, the Industrial Revolution in America began in earnest during the Civil War and lasted through the Reconstruction. That would be from around 1861 to 1900. The economic expansion or explosion that resulted from the expansion of factories and the construction of railroads attracted millions of people to the United States. Since a person my age would most likely know the names of double great-grandparents who arrived at an American port of entry during that time, there's little need for my work to help them. So today on the Vanntage Point, we'll venture back a couple of centuries to see the origins and meanings of 6 more pre-Civil War family names of Appalachia and the South. To get a copy of the Surname Catalog that lists the names and their respective episodes, write to me at vantagepoint22@gmail.com and I'll send you the list. I hope you'll join me. Number 1, Rutledge. As I research this surname, I'm about 35 miles from Rutledge, Tennessee. The wee town of less than 1,500 people is the capital of Granger County. Now, Rutledge was established in 1797 in honor of General George Rutledge. He was a prominent citizen of nearby Sullivan County. If we can believe the billboards around those parts, Granger County tomatoes are world famous. Now, I'm curious, if you live outside of Tennessee, have you ever heard of Granger County tomatoes? Let me know in the comments section. I'd love to know. The name seems to have some connection to Old Norse, but Harrison considers it to be an English name for a person who lived near red water. That's probably water with some clay in it, I would imagine. Now, McClysick acknowledges that it's an English name, but it's been in Ulster, Northern Ireland, since the plantation era of the 17th century. Meanwhile, in the Bonnie Land, there are some Rutledge folk who live near the border, but George Fraser Black argues that it's more English than Scottish. At the end of the day, I think you'll need a paper trail to determine the origin of your line of Rutledge. Still, your paper trail will most likely take you back to England, Ireland, and maybe even Scotland, especially the border country. Number 2, Smallman. If you do quite a bit of genealogical work and you've early American ancestry, you might just note the number of times that your research takes you back to places like Halifax, Virginia. I sort of say Halifax, Nova Scotia, but no, Halifax, Virginia. I've had several of my own family lines go back to that city or that town. Anyway, that's pretty cool, I think. I can tell you that Smallman or Smallman is an English name that was given to a slender and hence small fellow. Now, given our tendency to attach peculiar nicknames to people based on their appearances, I wonder if the first people named Smallman were actually tall. After all, there are many men named Curly who were bald, and others named Tiny who were large. Nevertheless, the family certainly has deep roots in the South. William Thomas Smallman, for instance, was born in Virginia in 1844, but he passed away in Morristown, Tennessee in 1920. I couldn't find Smallman among the traditional surnames of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales, so I'm confident that it's an English name. Number 3, Gilliland, or Gillen, or Gilland. Occasionally I get a request for a name that's not found among the traditional surnames of England, but it's originated in either Wales, Scotland, or Ireland. Now, Gilland falls into this category. In Ireland, it's used as an alternate form of McClellan, and it's sometimes shortened to Gillen. Now, if you're a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie series, you might recall that the Scottish lass Karen Gillan plays the intergalactic character Nebula. In Scotland, the Gaelic form of, let me point over here the right way, it means the son of the servant. Okay. To connect the family to the South, John Gilliland married Charity Richardson in South Carolina in 1790, so the name has deep roots in the South. At the end of the day, I'm confident that Gilliland or Gillian is a Scottish surname that could have come from Ireland or the Bonnie Land. Number 4, Lovin. You might recognize this surname as a variant of Loving. In 1967, Loving versus Virginia was decided by the Supreme Court. Not only did Richard and Mildred's court case set aside prohibitions against interracial marriage, but the case was also used as a precedent in 2013 when the Supreme Court eliminated restrictions on same-sex marriages. Whether they intended to or not, the Lovings made an impression on Southern culture, and American culture for that matter. Richard and Mildred were not the first people with that surname in the South, however. Gabriel Loving was born in Burke, North Carolina in 1725, or 1738, depending on the source you find. The surname seems to have a deep association with Sweden, but it's an English surname. Of course, there were Vikings that came from Sweden, but most of the Swedish Vikings went to the east to what would be Russia and Ukraine. It was borrowed from the Middle English personal name Leifing, and the Swedish Leofing, I guess. It roughly meant one who belongs to a leaf. Number 5, Orrick, or Orrick. This surname could be either English or Scottish. George Fraser Black says that Orrick is a habitational name that comes from the lands of Orrick. That's Burntis Land, Fife. That's over near the St. Andrews golf courses. The Dictionary of American Family Names claims that the name Orrick is found in England's Durham and Northumberland. A look into the traditional surnames of Ireland and Wales failed to show Orrick among them. So I'm confident that your line will lead you to Northern England or Scotland. Now, while I've not known more than a handful of Orrick people in my life, I found some records for Elizabeth Moore. Her maiden name was Orrick. She was born in Virginia in 1660. Number 6, Cole. Whenever I hear the name Cole, I think of Cole Younger and a pretty girl that lived on my paper route in Oliver Springs, Tennessee back in the 1970s. She went on to marry an older friend of mine, and they are still married after 45 years. Way to go, Sam and Joan. I was genuinely surprised to find that Cole didn't have anything to do with being cold. Instead, it was given to a person named Nicholas, of all things. I suppose they liked the middle syllable a lot. It looks like it became a surname in England. You might be happy to note that I was able to find some information on Reverend John Cole, who was born in Virginia in 1736. He married a lass named Elizabeth Smith, and lo and behold, they had a son named William Jesse Cole. He was born in Newberry, South Carolina in 1769. Now, I had a lot of kinfolks myself that came from the upstate in South Carolina, so I was really excited about that. So, I wonder if our folks knew each other. Cole arrived in Ireland during the plantation of Ulster in the 17th century, and Coles with an S is found in Glasgow. It's a Glaswegian name. At the end of the day, though, Cole was an Anglo-German name. It originated as a Teutonic personal name on the continent, and in England and Ireland and Scotland, it became a surname. I think you'll need a paper trail to find the origin of your line of Cole. Well, folks, that's about all I have for you today. If you'd like a copy of the list of surnames that we've covered so far, including the publication dates, send me an email at vantagepoint22@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you an email back with an attachment, a PDF file. And I hope you enjoyed the discussion today, and will join me again here on the Vantage Point. In the meantime, may the good Lord bless and keep you. May He make His face shine on you and give you peace. Bye-bye.